My name is Dan Dorval, and I'm President and CEO of Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. I am an independent certified financial planner and author of my book, Financial Success for the Rest of Us, Reality-Based Financial Planning for Mainstream America.
Hi, my name is Leah Woodley. I'm an associate financial advisor with Dorval and Cherney Financial Advisors. Our conversations discuss what it means to do quality of life planning in all areas of your life.
Dan, once again, we get to award a deserving nurse with the Quality of Life Nurse Award. Why don't you tell us about this month's recipient?
Well, our very special 250th anniversary of the United States award winner for July is Tanya Dupay, and she is a nurse at Allina Health System here in the Twin Cities. And she had a glowing nomination from one of her coworkers, and we're very excited to have a conversation with her.
Yes, we are. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Hi, Tanya. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Congratulations.
Thank you. This is pretty much an honor. It's great.
Well, Lori, your coworker, gave you a very nice nomination, had some great things to say about you. And this is just something we do for nurses to show appreciation for all that you do to enhance quality of life for it might be patients, it might be your coworkers. And so Lori talked a little bit about you've worked in oncology for 28 years. And why don't you talk a little bit about the challenges and maybe the changes that have happened over time in your nursing career?
Well, yeah, I started out as a new grad in oncology. That was my first job, and I kind of, have stuck with it for most of my career. It's really been a kind of a calling. Um, I think the really neat thing about working with oncology patients is that you get to develop like a relationship with them. You can see them over and over. I did infusion for many of those years. So we would have the same patients coming in, week after week or month after month. So they really kind of become a part of your world. You become a part of their world. So I really enjoyed that. As far as the changes in 30 years of oncology, it's been astounding with all the new treatments they have and all of the technology they have to treat cancer now. It's pretty wild.
Well, Lori talked about how, you one of the things that you do that does enhance quality of life is maintain a sense of humor. And so
Mhm.
when we think about something like oncology and you're dealing with cancer patients and you have people who are facing obviously major health challenges and it's maybe dark days in their lives, how do you do that? How do you maintain a sense of humor and kind of that, that type of approach to being a nurse?
Well, I think sometimes it's really tough. I think, the most important thing you can try to do when these patients are facing, whether it's a life-threatening or just a life-changing diagnosis, is try and help them maintain a little bit of normalcy in their life. So just, having even simple, normal conversations about something as Minnesota, we're always talking about the weather. So something as crazy as, can you believe the weather we're having? Or, what's going on with our sports teams? Or just kind of bringing out some of that normal conversation that they can just, talk about that and kind of, hopefully have some positive things to say along just some normal conversation tones.
So a lot of nurses talk about, this challenge too of you see things at work that are difficult to see, things that most people don't have to deal with every day. And then
Mhm.
you come home and you have to be able to separate those two things. And you even talked about normalcy. So are there any, things that you'd want to discuss about how do you leave some of these challenging things from work in order to go and live your life outside of work?
Well, I don't think it always leaves you. I think you do bring a lot of it home. I know I have over the years brought a lot of that feeling home with me just simply because these patients do become a part of your life. So, and I think that is kind of the unique thing about oncology. I mean, we have gone to funerals, of our patients that we've lost and been there for their families because they did become such a part of our lives and we became such a part of theirs. So I think that is hard. But that being said, I raised two boys, I've got dogs, and I make sure I'm taking walks with them and try to stay active and, all the typical self-care things that, we should all be doing. Obviously, try to practice that and just, de-stress a little bit from those daily issues at work that sometimes can weigh you down.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We hear that as a recurring theme. It seems like the importance of taking care of yourself and that
Hmm.
self-care component. One thing we like to ask is for other nurses who are watching this, if there's one suggestion that you can make for them if they have the desire to improve the quality of life of others, whether it be patients, coworkers, or even people in their community, what would you advise?
Um, I think like being part of or being a support system for people. I think that's a really important thing in a lot of different ways. I mean, as obviously as a nurse, having my coworkers there to support me, they're the ones that know the best, what kind of a day we've had and understand when you've had a rough day, what it means versus going home to somebody who's never worked in healthcare. They may not quite understand it like, a coworker would. So having those support systems, for sure at work, but I also think being a support system for others is really rewarding as well. And I think that kind of goes back to, my patient population that I've cared for so many years. Um, Sometimes when those patients come in, we might be the only thing they have. They may not have family, they may not have a friend that they can count on. They may not have been out of the house for almost 6 weeks until they came for their visit. So just being there, and even if it means just listening to them have a little conversation about something they saw or heard or whatever they want to talk about, listening to them and just being a support system for them, I think is really rewarding too. But just having people in your life that you can count on, talk to, and laugh with is really important, and
Yes,
laughing as much as you can.
yes, indeed, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing.
Well, congratulations on winning our award. And, we will have this video posted and, certainly feel free to nominate someone else that you feel is worthy. Shockingly, we don't get that many nominations for this award. And we really do, appreciate all that you do and all of the nurses that we've helped over the years. We understand how difficult your world is and how much you do make contributions to others, and just want to acknowledge that for all of those nurses.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
You are welcome. Congratulations again. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.